The judge really walked off the bench and said he understands why my uncles raped me because I'm supposedly beautiful. What's going on, family? So today I am back with another, and I'm actually going to be telling you guys about my justice. Please forgive me for looking like this. We're sitting in my bed right now because I am so tired. I just got off work not too long ago, so any hoot and cananny, go get your sodas, get your snacks, get your drinks, whatever it is that you need to sit here and chill with me. We gonna get into it. Alright, I'm gonna give y'all the whole backstory of even when this even got started. So June 23rd is actually the date. Was when I ran away. And when I ran away that time, I guaranteed myself I would not go back. I actually, the illest part is I got raped the night before and I got raped that morning. I was done. I was tired. I was done dealing with it. So I called my husband. He was my boyfriend at the time. Let me remind y'all, he had no idea what I was going through on the daily basis, okay? Understand that. But when he answered the phone, I'm like, look, I'll explain later. But I'm leaving this house. I can't take it no more. And he was like, well, what do you mean you're leaving? I said, I'm running away, and don't try to talk me out of it, because he was good for trying to talk me out of stuff. I was like, don't try to talk me out of it. And if you do, you'll regret it, because what I'm going to tell you is going to blow your mind. He was like, all right, but you better call me as soon as you get where you're going. I was going to my friend's house, and she basically lived right around the corner, so I told him that's where I was going, and he was like, oh, all right, well, you call me and let me know you got there. My little cousin, I was like, listen, I hate to tell you this, but your dad's been doing this to me over the past 5 years, and the craziest thing was, he was like, I know. I'm like, you know? He was like, yeah, I seen him. And then I was like, well, our other uncle was doing it too. And he was like, I know that too. So I was like, look, I can't take it no more. I'm leaving. He was like, I understand. He helped me pack my stuff. He even actually helped me carry it to the house that I was going to. He gave me a hug. And he was like, I hope I see you around here sometime. Because he knew I wasn't coming back. He knew for sure. When I say I'm going to do some shit, I do it. I do it. There's no like if, ands, buts about it. It don't matter if it's good or bad. I will do what I say I'm going to do. So I was like, I will try everything in me to see you around here. So he left. He walked back up to the house. And I called and asked him if he was back. He was like, yeah, I'm home. We good. I was like, all right. Little do they know, I used to see him. I would meet him in the alleyway behind the house to see him. I had called a certain person. I'm not going to name this person. But I had called this person and was like, listen, you better not make no calls, tell nobody nothing. But I ran away and I'm not going back there. And I said, why? Which was the whole rape scenario. She already knew about the abuse situation, so I was just like, I'm tired, I'm fed up, I can't take it no more. This person's crying and stuff, and I'm like, yo, seriously, like, I'm asking you as who I am. I'm not gonna say what this person is to me, but I'm like, I'm asking you as my blank, don't say nothing. Hang up the phone. Less than 15 minutes later, I'm getting a phone call. And I remember my caretaker, which became my foster mom, but she answered the phone when the phone rang. And she's like, Shalay, so-and-so is on the phone for you. I'm like, who? I'll never forget this lady's name. It was Amy. And she told me, Amy so-and-so. And I'm like, I don't know who that is. She was like, well, I'm guessing she's from CPS because she addressed herself as a caseworker. I grabbed the phone and I instantly was like, I know she called because I know that was her caseworker. Get on the phone. This lady is like, well, this blank person to you called me and told me that you were being raped. I already heard about some abuse, but I couldn't do nothing. It was out of my control. But since you have left there, now let me remind y'all, this is the same day. But she was like, since you had left there, now I could actually put this into my control. I need to be able to come get you so we can have a conversation, you know, all of that. And I'm like, I done begged this person not to call and say nothing to nobody about me not being there. So not only did you go against what I asked you not to do, but now I have to go talk to somebody that I don't want to talk to about nothing. So I was like, you know what? In order for me to legally be able to stay here, I'll talk to her. So she came and picked me up, took me down to the CPS office, and we sat and talked. I told her everything that was going on. Then she told me that they have to do a medical exam on me, and she wants to be able to bring me back the following day. I was livid. I was out of control type livid. When I got home, I called this person back up and was like, since you had called and said something when I asked you not to, I need you to go with me to go get this exam. She said on the phone, oh, I promise you I'll be there. Following day, I call, no answer. I call again, no answer. I knew what time this woman was coming to get me too, so I kept calling to get no answer. None. Guess what? I end up at this office by myself with detectives, cops, Amy. It was a madhouse. So I get this exam, but the exam was a male doctor and 4 male cops all in the same room. Wow, they're using this small camera to look in there and in my area. And when they told me a camera, yes, I am slow sometimes. I was thinking that they was going to try to put a actual camera there. I was tripping like, nah, y'all ain't doing that. Until I seen what it was. It actually was smaller than this. What they look up there with. But they seen the abrasions and all that. So they had their proof, you know. And then I go get interrogated. And the woman was blatantly like, I know you're not lying. So we have to start this case. I'm like, I don't want to do none of this. Like, I just want to leave the house. I don't want to go through no court processes, none of that. I just want to not be there. That's all I'm asking. Just not to have to go back there. I want to stay where I'm at. So my foster mom basically got cleared to be my foster mom. So she legally became my guardian. And my husband still didn't know what the hell was going on. At first, I only just mentioned the child abuse. I didn't mention me being raped at all. Over the time, though, my foster mom's like, look, he's not that type of dude that'll leave over something like this. You need to sit down and talk to him. Oh, and we were not sexually active at the time, just so y'all know. Okay? It took me until July 4th before I told him I was not going to tell him at all. But he was sending detectives and stuff around, so I eventually was kind of sort of forced into it. But before I get to that, like I said, detectives were around all the time questioning me. Now let me tell you what these goobers did. They called them ahead of time and told them that they were going to be doing a raid to check to see if they find any other evidence about what happened. And the detective, she believed me off top because something's telling me she went through this at one point. But anyway, I was credible, basically, at that point. I was credible to her. And obviously I didn't come off as a liar. So I don't know what would possess them to call and say, oh, we're coming to raid, but whatever. Now, in this house, and I did not know why we built these steps this way. There was regular steps to the 3rd floor at first. We knocked them down, and I'm in a carpentry, so that was like so interesting for me. But we knocked the steps down and made like these ladder steps, but they were made with 4x4s. They were heavy. But we made steps that you could put, literally, it's not like the fold up steps that you put away. No, it was a ladder type steps, but made like actual steps. We used 4x4s. Heavy as wood, understand me when I say. But we were able to push the steps, literally lift them, push them into the ceiling if anybody came, which I never understood why we did that. Come to find out, they technically weren't supposed to be there, being as though this was they were foster parents, like my adopted family was foster parents. So we could have fostered a kid for a couple days, or we could have kept these kids for however long and or adopt them. So come to find out, they weren't technically supposed to be there. And when the detective told me that she called them and told them that they were coming, blew my mind. Because she was sitting there, she's like, Shalay, they don't live there. There's no way for them to live there. There's not enough rooms. And I was like, okay. Did you stand outside the house? She's like, yes. I was like, okay. Did you count the floors? Because there's windows on the 3rd floor. And she was like, I did notice that. I'm like, okay, well, think about that for a second. If there's windows to the 3rd floor, how isn't there a 3rd floor? Common sense, right? They explained it away to them, to the detective, as it being storage. The detective said she did ask how would they store stuff up there if there's no steps. And I was like, okay, think about what you're saying though. You say there's no steps to get up there, but it's storage up there. Now what kind of sense does that make to you? And I know you noticed the ceiling is completely closed off. Once you push them steps up there, it looks like just a regular drop ceiling. It doesn't look as if there's a regular floor to a regular ceiling to the drop ceiling, because we made it. It's three different. It's hard to explain. Anyway, I was like, do not call them, just show up. So as we're sitting there talking, she actually radioed in to the police and was like, in about an hour, we're going to go back. They came around the corner, waited, because I was around the corner literally from that house. So they were sitting there, they were waiting for this hour to go by. Literally on the hour, I turned to the cops. I said, oh, the hour it literally just hit an hour. She was like, okay, go. They go around there. Sure enough, they raid the house again. Oh, magically there's the steps. They radioed to her, oh, she wasn't lying. There's really steps here that goes into the ceiling. Like, she's not lying. They're down now. So the moment they radioed that to her, she gets up. She's like, I gotta see this for myself. She goes around. She sees it. She calls the house and was like, there's really steps here. Like, this is crazy. And then, as she's like looking around, I could hear stuff like rattling. She was like, oh my God, there's a pair of little girl underwear up here. When she brings them in a bag around the corner, they're my underwear from years ago. I never understood why underwear would be missing. They was just taking my underwear, not off my body. Now, like when they would rape me, they would just pull them down or something like that, or move them over, but they never took them off me. Come to find out, they were going in my drawers or in my dirty clothes, stealing my underwear. Nasty. And it's so crazy to me how both of them were doing the same things, but at different times. Something's telling me at this moment, now that I'm an adult, I wonder if they were talking to each other about what they were doing. Because they were doing the same things. Like, what's the odds of that? So they gathered all the stuff, like I said. They came back with all the information, the pictures, all of that. So now, I'm very credible now to them. So the detective is begging me, can we please take this to court? I'm telling you, you got this. We go to court, they're getting convicted. I was like, no, I don't want to go through all that. I just do not want to go to that house. That's all I'm asking y'all. That's all I'm asking y'all. You think they left it at that? No. So now I'm fucking subpoenaed to have to go. So basically, I became the state's witness victim again because I was subpoenaed. So I had no choice but to do what they wanted. I'm going to skip ahead. I told my husband eventually, like I said, July 4th, I pulled him to the side because we're supposed to go downtown, and I told him I don't want to go downtown. I don't like big crowds. That's a part of my whole mental illness. But I was not going down there to watch no fireworks. I was not going at all. I was like, you know what? I actually got something more important to talk to you about. Forget this whole July 4th thing. And when I said that, he knew it was something serious. And I was like, listen, you're saying these cops, the detectives, all of that around. Because I was being raped. And the day I called you and told you I was running away, I was raped minutes ahead of that phone call. Minutes. So, when I told him this, of course he was disgusted. In the same sense, he said he knew it was something more than child abuse because of the way the cops were reacting to everything. And he said he kind of guessed it as well because he overheard my foster mom at the time talking to the cops. So this actually became a really big deal in so many words, but he was like, I got your back regardless of whatever. It was the following day I had went and called to get my very first pap smear because I was scared that they gave me some sort of STD. I didn't get an STD, but I had cervical cancer, so it was pretty good that I did that. Eventually, like, not far after that, I actually had sex with my husband before my following appointment. When they finished on the testing on how far along the cancer was, it was more serious than they thought, so they had scheduled me to come right back in after they did the testing, which was a couple weeks later. They had the test results and they figured it was more serious, so they wanted me to come back in, get a cervix clipping and all of that. But I actually was pregnant by my husband. It was twins, it was embryos that I miscarried on the surgical table, so that was another blow for me. The only reason why I was even willing to have sex with my husband in the first place was because I felt like my innocence was gone anyway. It was no point of waiting until marriage anymore. Like, I basically had gave up on that dream because it was already taken away from me. I felt like there was no point. I was with my husband for 3 years before this started, so like I just didn't care anymore. I ended up pregnant again and I actually miscarried. And I don't know if it was, well, I was told I wasn't going to be able to have kids regardless, but the stress alone isn't good. So I ended up having another miscarriage. Eventually I got pregnant again. And that's my eldest son right now. But throughout the court stuff, I was pregnant, then I had my son, and then the other person that went through it was pregnant during, like, when we were deciding if we were going to trial. This lawyer we had told us to not take it to trial because this person was pregnant, even though this person was 19. And I was like, okay, this technically isn't as if she's like a kid. I was a kid basically when I had my son, so that would be more understandable. But I was not okay with not going to trial. Y'all put me through this, we're going to trial. But that person was like, well, we'll let them plead out. Guess what the plea deal was? 6 months in probation. I am still livid to this day. That's not justice. But as we're sitting in the court, the older uncle to them two, their older brother, was sitting there staring us down like we were going to be scared. The detective seen him doing that as she's sitting there with her arms wrapped around me because I did not want to be in there. She seen him doing this and she kept saying, you need to turn around, every time he would look back, but he didn't. So she literally got up. A couple of the cops got up with her and they literally snatched him up and threw him into the hallway in the middle of us sitting in court. The judge sentenced them to their little 6 months and their little stupid probation. And we all walk out into the hallway, and now I'm getting angry. So my eyes start to water on some. I'm mad now. I'm not sad. I'm mad because y'all put me through this whole process. So I'm livid now. And the detective even said to me, why did y'all let him plead out? Why did y'all let them plead out? And I'm like, it wasn't my damn idea. This lawyer talked about it, and this person agreed to it, and basically forced my hand and making me agree to it. My husband was even like, why? And by the way, he literally went through this entire process with me. Literally, we are 16. We went through this, I was 16, and we went through this process until I was 18. And he was with me the entire time. They got that little punk ass 6 months. And then we go into the hallway, like I said, and I'm mad. My eyes are starting to water because this is some bullshit. And I really wasn't wanting to talk to anybody. I was that mad. I would talk to the detective as she was talking to me. But how about this? We're standing there talking, me and the detective, and my husband was talking to the other people, but he was standing next to me. The judge walks into the hallway and walks up to us and said, I could see why your uncles chose y'all because y'all are beautiful. Tell me how fucking crazy that sounds to y'all. Because that sounds crazy to me. My husband then wraps his arms around me. The detective is starting to walk us away because I guess she's seen a fire literally shoot through me. My husband was livid. I was livid. The detective was livid. They all gasped. Like, everybody was like, when he said it. This judge said this. This judge let them words leave his mouth. And I have witnesses to this. I don't understand how he's still a judge to this day. I didn't know that I was able to report on him and stuff like that. But I also wasn't willing to do no more court anything. Honestly, I was done. I have no faith in the justice system whatsoever. I wouldn't have been through all the stuff I've been through when it come down to CPS, being adopted, being given back to my mom over and over again. Like, I have no, and to this day, I still have no faith in the system. And here's what's really putting a damper on it even more. For him, the older one, to have just committed this again to 2 more people, which I'll put the document in this video as well. To only have to serve 3 years and have 10 years of probation? Did you not see the previous charges of him doing this? So why? Tell me why he is getting out in 3 years. 3. And if you get good behavior, sometimes they let you out before then. And that's actually most of the time. So he's probably going to do 1.5 years. Maybe 2 at most. It says a minimum of 3 years, but no. I don't even believe that's going to happen. I don't believe that's going to happen. I have no more faith. I have no more faith. If any lawyers see this and y'all have any advice on how something could be worked out to where I could write a letter or something to the prosecutor, like I need to find out who this person is, please leave me a comment down below and tell me how I could do this. I've been thinking about this non-stop since the last video that I had put up, which was a couple days ago. So, any advice is welcomed. But if you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up, comment, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you're notified every time I drop a new video. For all the new subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you guys for watching. Deuces.